guys, he came all the way from Port St. Lucie to be here with us this morning. And let's give Barry Abraham a nice round of applause. Come on up, Barry.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Big hand for Chris, everybody. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you. This is a great event. Chris is amazing. He did something this year that no one has ever done before. I didn't think it was possible. He sold me a cruise. And it's crazy because I get really seasick. But anyway, that is was a fantastic cruise. I really recommend it. And I'm going to try to go again this year. Go on that TBBO cruise. It's wonderful. Okay, I'm going to be talking about AdWords. And I could just launch right into the whole presentation, but I'm interested to know a little bit. Raise your hand if you are using AdWords or pay-per-click advertising now, or have used it in the past. Okay, and how many of you kind of haven't used it, but you're really open to it and you want to learn more about it? You're thinking about it. Okay, that's great. And are there any particular things you want to learn that I should? Does anyone want to throw out any particular thing that they want to know about it that I could try to address? What's that? How do you turn it off? You click the button to turn it off, Chris. Okay, well, I'm going to start by telling you just something about myself and how I got interested in AdWords. That picture with 2 bolts of lightning kind of represents something from my life. There are 2 times in my life where I felt like lightning kind of struck for me, where I found something I just was so excited about and I really loved. And the first thing was when I was a kid, I learned how to juggle, and I wanted to be an entertainer. And I just kept working on that, and that's what led me to, I've been a traveling entertainer for about 28 years, about 25 years on the cruise lines, and it was really good lightning. It's great when you find something you really enjoy and are passionate about. But the other lightning for me was when I first learned about Google AdWords, and this is about 3.5 years ago. I had been interested in internet marketing for a while. I loved, working on websites, and SEO was exciting. But I decided it was time to find out what this AdWords thing was all about. I've been hearing about it, so I bought the book AdWords for Dummies. So I started reading the book, and by the way, I really expected it to be boring. I thought you pay a little money, you get a little ad. How much more complicated could it be than that? I didn't expect to be very impressed with this. So I started reading the book, and I'm thinking, okay, this is a little more complicated than I thought. Interesting, though. I read a little bit more. Okay, this is a lot more complicated than I thought, but very clever, very interesting. I read a little bit more, and then it just gets to be ridiculous. How much more complicated can this get? And then a thought hit me, just kind of like zap. I thought, whoever really understands how this works is going to have a huge advantage. And that is true, and that really excited me. And I just thought, I like this. This seems like my kind of thing. And I would like to be the guy that just understands this, top to bottom, and how it works, and how to have that advantage. So I've just had a fantastic time over the last few years just delving into all this stuff and learning how that it works. Now, of course, we're talking about the pay-per-click ads, which they're the ads that show on the top of the page. They're sometimes on the top. They're usually there on the side. Sometimes they're on the bottom. Pay-per-click means, the advertiser pays if someone clicks. Impressions are free. An appearance of your ad is called an impression, and you can have hundreds of them, thousands of them, millions of them. You won't get charged unless somebody clicks on it. Okay? Engineering wonder. I've always thought of AdWords a little bit like an automobile, which to me is an amazing machine made up of smaller amazing machines. It's then they all work together. Smart people came up with this. It's an absolutely brilliant system. So why is it so important, though? Where's the advantage of knowing how all the parts work and really understanding it? Google loves to charge your credit card, like they did for Chris. Okay, and the more they can charge it, the more they love it. It's where you're spending your money, so that's why it's important to know how you're spending it. A little detail can make a huge difference. And Actually, and I'm just thinking of this. Just a little ad lib. Ben Franklin said, "A small leak can sink a great ship." That's a great quote, and it just came to me now. Okay, outline. I'm going to do a little overview. I can only go so far, in this amount of time explaining AdWords, but I want to give you some of the most important concepts to understand about pay-per-click advertising. A couple of case studies, a little bit of advice. I will then touch a little bit on analytics, especially relating to AdWords, and also remarketing, which I think is the best thing to come out of internet marketing in recent years. It is such a fantastic opportunity. I think it's absolutely indispensable right now, as a matter of fact. Okay, getting into my overview. First of all, with pay-per-click, you always have two simultaneous goals: to get clicks and to avoid clicks. You have to keep those goals in mind all the time. You want to be visible to the people who really could turn into customers, and you want to be invisible to everyone else. And to do that, you use a wide array of features, settings, options, techniques. Okay? I went too far. Okay, this is a very important distinction right here. Search advertising versus display advertising. They're completely different kinds of advertising. With AdWords, you can do both. AdWords lets you do both, but they're completely different. Search advertising is trying to get your ad to show when someone is searching. They're actually looking for what you offer, right? So you want your ad to appear so they can see it. Display advertising, they're not looking for you at all. They're doing something else. They're reading their Gmail. They're looking at a YouTube page. They're reading a news article. Display ads appear on around content. That picture, that screenshot is from the side of my Gmail page. So display advertising is when your ad is showing and you're trying to get their attention and entice them with something. They're not searching for you. You're trying to pull their attention, all right? I had one client who was running AdWords himself, and he didn't know the difference between search and display. He was spending about $1,000 a month on clicks, and the first thing I did was to see where his spending was going, see where the clicks were coming from and the costs, and I could see right away clearly that the display was not set up well, and it wasn't going to be helping him. And so we cut that out, and just from that he started saving $400 a month. So that's a very important distinction to know the difference there. How much do you pay for a click? It's an auction-based system. When someone searches Google, an auction happens in a fraction of a second. And what you do as an advertiser is set the most you're willing to pay for a click. Works like that. The click costs can be very high. Some businesses are very competitive, if you are a personal defense lawyer and some really competitive advertising areas, the click costs can be very expensive, but they can also be very inexpensive. They can be 50 cents, 60 cents, $1.20, $2.50. It just depends on the business, how expensive and how competitive it is. In what order do the ads show on the page? It would make sense that whoever paid the most got the best position, right? And in fact, that's the way it used to be, or in early days of pay-per-click. When Yahoo had a pay-per-click system, if you paid more, your ad showed up higher on the page. But Google considered that way, and they thought, no, that's not good enough, because then you can have some low-quality ads showing on the top of a page. Google wants to give a good experience and to show quality ads. So, if someone's ads are not targeted well, they might be irrelevant to what someone is searching. So Google instituted this thing called quality score, which is a computerized evaluation of how well you're using the system, basically. And it's based very heavily on relevancy. And raise your hand if you like a good deal. Okay. Imagine that your ad is... actually, I'm sorry. I'm going to... I realize I forgot to finish that on the last slide. Quality score... your rank of the ads is bid times quality score. Those are the two major factors. Your bid and the quality score the system gives you. There's also a new addition that if you're using ad extensions, which are things you can try to get extended to your ad, like an address or a phone number. Google has made that part of the equation, but only a minor part. But okay, if you like a good deal, Imagine this. Imagine your ad is at the top of the page. Prime spot, okay? Now imagine you're only paying half of what another advertiser is paying, and they're fourth or fifth down the side of the page. That's a really great deal for you. Not only are you paying half of what they're paying per click, you also have the top spot. That's the difference that quality score can make. Okay, it affects your cost per click, and it affects the ranking order of the ads. Quality score it can be a bit mysterious and a bit frustrating sometimes. It's an algorithm, and it's like a lot of Google's algorithms, or all of them, I guess, they're secret. Nobody knows exactly what they are, but there are a lot of things we know. Quality score is always a number between 1 and 10. 1 is the worst, 10 is the best. It affects cost per click and ranking order. It's based heavily on click-through rate, and it's based on many other factors like landing page relevance, landing page load time, and historical performance of the keyword, ad group, and account. And it can be improved. When you optimize your account, you can improve your quality score and get a better deal from Google. All right, here's the scary one, right? Cost control. How many of you think your money can just fly away so fast that you won't know what happened? Well, you're in luck. It's actually not very complicated with AdWords. For every campaign, you set a daily budget. And it's basically that simple. You can also pause any campaign, anytime you want. That'll save you money. But bids, that's the other way you control your costs. You set the amount you want to pay per click. If you don't want to pay $10 a click, you don't have to. Okay? So you can control your costs easily, daily budget, and with bids. Okay? That didn't. Like I said, you can pause a campaign, an ad group, a keyword. When you're going on vacation, just pause everything. It's very easy and flexible. Location targeting is fantastic. You can target by country, state, city, congressional district, zip code, radius. There's a little screenshot of some location targeting. And for that particular business, we targeted a radius around their office. That's the big circle. And then we also added some nearby cities and zip codes. It's very flexible, just great. This is something I like to do. I like to create zones using the radius targeting. Here I have a zone that's closer and then farther than one that's kind of medium. Now it's kind of redundant, right? I'm targeting 3 areas. But what's good to do then is use bid adjustments. You can say, okay, the people in that inner zone, boost my bid by 20%. They're closer to my location. I think there's a greater chance I can turn them into a customer. And then the ones that are on that outer zone, lower my bids by 20%. So that's something that you can set in there, and I think that's a useful technique right there. Levels of an account. In an account, you have campaigns. You can have 1 or more campaigns. In a campaign, you have ad groups. You can have 1 or many, many more ad groups. And in an ad group, you have keywords and ads. To have a functional account, you need to have at least 1 campaign with at least 1 ad group, at least 1 keyword, and at least 1 ad. And then as long as you put your credit card information in there, you have a functional account. The keyword match types. This is a very clever aspect of the PPC platforms. The match types give you a tremendous amount of control over the kinds of searches that trigger your ads. And just to explain it, first of all, look at the 4th one down on the left. It says exact. Okay? And across from there you see that it says easy cake recipes in brackets. If you're using a keyword in exact match, you're saying, do not show my ad unless someone searches those exact words in this exact order without any other words before or after. So it's very, very rigid. It gives you a lot of control. If you want to take a conservative approach to AdWords, you can do that with exact match keywords. Phrase match, similar. The words have to be there in order, but there can be words before and after. For example, it says easy cake recipes there in quotes. it could also trigger the ad for easy cake recipes for kids or something like that. There can be words before or after. Modified broad match is broader targeting. You put a plus sign before each word that you definitely want to appear in the search. But they can appear in different orders, and it's more flexible, more broad. Broad match is too broad. You don't want to use it very often. It'll trigger your ads for irrelevant searches. So it's best not to use it normally. It can be useful for some research, though. Use some broad match keywords, get some data. It can teach you a lot about your market and what you're advertising in. And negative match type, if you set a negative keyword that says, do not show my ad if this word is in there somewhere. A great negative keyword, free. Discount, cheap. You want to collect as many as you can. Negative keywords save you a ton of money. Okay? Okay, just to touch for a second on display network targeting. So with AdWords, you can do display campaigns. Google has what is called the Google Display Network, which is millions of websites that show Google ads. You see them on news sites, you see them all over the place, and you can actually rent out part of your own website to show Google ads if you want. You can make money from that through the Google AdSense program. But for targeting, one thing you can do is just give some keywords, like say motorcycle parts or something, and then Google will try to find websites related to motorcycles to show your ads. That's called automatic placements. Or you can actually kind of go shopping for websites with Google's tool yourself. You can actually find certain websites that you think are relevant to your business, and you can say, I want to advertise on those sites, display ads. So you can choose the sites yourself. Or you can do a combination, actually, where you choose a site, but then you refine it more with some keywords. You say, I want to advertise on this site, but only if the page is about a certain topic. Like the NewYorkTimes.com shows Google ads. So you could choose the New York Times financial section as a display placement, but then you can use the keywords tax deduction. Say, only show my ad if there's an article related to tax deductions, let's say. Okay. Okay, now for a couple of case studies. Here's a law firm that I do pay-per-click for, and this law firm specializes in bankruptcy cases. For most businesses, I don't recommend targeting people who are going bankrupt. But this is for the month of October. Just have one campaign running for them. 59 clicks, 24,000 impressions. A click-through rate of 0.24%, which is absolutely miserable, actually. I think this is instructive. There's average cost per click, $11.91. Total cost, $702.85. Average position, 4.6. So that's the average position from the top of the page. So that one reason why the click-through rate is low is because of that average position. It's farther down the page. Fewer people are going to see it and click. So what do you think of those numbers? Not so good, right? Okay, let's drill down a little bit more. Okay, these are the ad groups. An ad group is where you have the theme for advertising, okay? So we have 3 themes here and 3 ad groups. Bankruptcy cases and keywords related to bankruptcy, foreclosure, and debt. They're all pretty similar, but if someone searches using the word debt relief, we want to show them an ad that's about debt relief. So that's where you have your theme there at the keyword level. All right. The bankruptcy ad group got 46 clicks, almost 17,000 impressions, low click-through rate, 0.27%, average cost per click, $13.42, at a cost of a little over $600. So there you see the numbers by ad group. Oh, I'm so sorry. How do I get it back, Chris?
Hit the same button you hit.
Okay. Okay, good. There it is. Okay, and here we're drilling down farther. This is keyword view. Here we're seeing the metrics by individual keywords. We have phrase match bankruptcy attorney, And then we have just a broad match, bankruptcy lawyer, in quotes, filing bankruptcy, in quotes, that's phrase match. You see the clicks, impressions, click-through rate, costs. On that right column, you see quality score. Okay? So that first keyword has a quality score of 7 out of 10. That's pretty good. You take 7s, that's generally a pretty good quality score. Okay, now let's look at the return on ad spend for the month of October to see how they did. Okay, total ad spend was $702. It got 59 clicks at $11.91 average cost per click. Okay, through call tracking, we have a special site with a call tracking number. They got 22 calls and 8 customers. $702 divided by 8 customers is $88 cost per customer, cost per acquisition. The average bankruptcy case pays $1,740. So 8 customers times $1,740 equals $13,920 in revenue. To get a return on ad spend calculation, you take the revenue number, subtract the ad cost, and then from that number you divide it by the ad cost, and then you get 18.82. So 1,882% return on ad spend. So it was a successful month from their AdWords activity, and I think this is a good example of why you need to keep in mind that profit in the end is the metric that's important. It's good to look at quality score, it's good to look at click-through rate and all of those things. In the end, though, it is your profit that makes it successful or not successful. And one metric people get overly obsessed about sometimes is click-through rate. I want to improve my click-through rate. That's good, but it could also be a bad thing just as much as it could be a good thing. It depends on who's clicking and why, and if they might turn into a customer. Okay, search terms report. This is really valuable. Google will give you the list of searches that people actually made that led to a click on your ad. And you can really glean a lot of information from this. It can help you know if you're targeting the right keywords, etc. Those ones that are in bold are pretty good ones, I think. And then what you do from this also is you look for negative keyword ideas. If you see a search that is irrelevant to your business, and there's a word in it, you can make a negative keyword. You do that. Negative keywords will save you a lot of money. Okay, this is an electrician that I just started with a couple months ago in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. He has 2 campaigns, a services campaign and a brand campaign. The brand campaign is just for his business name. When people search his business name, he wants to be seen and found easily. And the clicks are usually pretty cheap when you're just running a brand campaign. It's a good idea oftentimes to do that. So there you see the activity. The services campaign got 117 clicks, almost 13,000 impressions. That's a lot of impressions. Click-through rate, not great also, 0.91%. Cost $805 for that campaign. Here are the ad groups. Actually, he has other ad groups. He has a lot of different services that we have ad groups for. Those are the ones that got the most activity, though. Okay, you see the different electrical inspections is doing very well for him. It got 11 clicks. Click-through rate is 4.15% from that. So that's looking very healthy right there. And here's keyword view again. See all the stats by keyword. And again, on the right, you see quality score. You have to add that column. It's not on by default. You have to, in AdWords, add the column to display quality score. And here's a return on ad spend calculation for October. Total ad spend, $830. 129 clicks at $6.44 average cost per click. 39 calls, and these calls get recorded, by the way. We use a call tracking service that actually records the calls, so that's helpful. 18 customers. So $830 ad spend divided by 18 customers equals $46 cost per acquisition. Average customer pays $525, and we got that number when I started working for him. I I asked him to look through his books, and look through his past 40, 60, 80 customers and try to determine what that number would be so that we could use it. So average customer pays $525. 18 customers, 5 times 525 is $9,450 in revenue. So the revenue minus the ad cost, you take that number, divide it by the ad cost, and you get 1038, so that's a 1,038% return on ad spend. Now it's not the same as an ROI calculation. ROI, you consider other business expenses. Okay, so this is just a simple equation we use in PPC quite a bit called return on ad spend. Okay, just now for some advice. Like I mentioned in the panel, if you are a small business, you want to have a strategy for all three kinds of search results. And if someone is searching with local intent, that's when you get the local listings also. So you don't always get local listings. But with local intent, you generally get those three kinds of search results: organic, local, and paid. There is a real benefit to showing up in more than one place. There's a compound effect. There's a lot of research to show that, especially from Google, that shows that. And let's see. There's a phone number showing in one of the ads. That's a call extension that can be set up. And Google sometimes will show extensions, sometimes they won't. But the phone number is showing right there. So sometimes people will just call the phone number and they won't click. That's a nice little freebie that Google gives you. Okay, here's some advice. Think relevance. From the keyword to the ad text to the landing page. You want it to all be very highly relevant. Not only is that better for the consumer to find, follow that trail to find what they're looking for, Google also rewards you for that with quality score. If it sees a lot of relevancy from the keyword to the ad text to the landing page, you can get a better quality score and pay less. The ad group, keep a tight theme. That's where your keywords are put with the ads. So ideally, you'd like to have a different ad showing for every keyword that's kind of on a different subject, along with a different landing page. For example, if you're a florist and part of your business is wedding flowers, you want to have a keyword that's wedding flowers, and then an ad that's about wedding flowers, and then a landing page that's about wedding flowers. Okay, that's the right way to do PPC. The problem is sometimes it can become unmanageable. If you have 50 or 60 or 100 different products or services, it's a lot of work to create landing pages for every one of them, ad groups for everyone. So you have to balance it with practicality. But for your the most lucrative part of your business, you want to really, keep that relevancy as strong as you can. Continuous improvement always. This is anything but a set and forget kind of thing. There are ways to improve all the time. Your landing page, you can create 2 different ads and set them to rotate evenly to see which one gets a better click-through rate. That's called split testing. In one ad, you can get $10 off today. In the other ad, get 10% off today. So you can test that and see which gets a better click-through rate. You get a lot of data that can help your other marketing efforts also. Understand search versus display, and you want to keep those in separate campaigns. AdWords will allow you to do it all from one campaign, but it's a better idea to separate them. Search and display advertising. Watch your spending. Watch it by campaign, by ad group, and by keyword. Okay? Invest in your landing pages. You can't underestimate the importance of the landing page doing its job. Okay? The landing page should be highly relevant, and it should offer value. Someone should see some value right away, and there should be a call to action. They should easily know what to do next. Also, use Bing Ads. Bing Ads is basically like AdWords. It's a very similar platform, but it gets you into Bing and Yahoo searches. Okay? And let's see. What not to do, and I covered some of these. Don't dive in. I think it's a mistake to just go in too aggressively with really high bids and really high budgets. better to wade in a little bit slowly. Get something started, get some data, and then see where you are with it all. And on the bottom, I put, again, I'll say, don't obsess about any particular metric too much. Quality scores, click-through rate. In the end, profit is what's most important. There are a few resources. So you're going to get a copy. I'm going to go quickly through this because you are going to get a copy of these slides. I have some freebies available. I think the clipboard is around somewhere. I have an AdWords cheat sheet. I have a remarketing cheat sheet. And analytics cheat sheet, and also if you're interested in a PDF of my book, I'd be happy to send it to you. Or if you'd like a paperback copy, I'll send you one of those as well for my cost, which is about $7 for printing and postage. And okay, I'll talk about analytics for a couple minutes now, and how it can be helpful with AdWords. How many of you are using Google Analytics? Okay, I'm going to make a confession first of all. I used to be afraid of Google Analytics. I found it just a bit scary, and I actually had a mental image of it in my mind. Oh boy, like this. You know, you go into Google Analytics, and there's so much data, it's overwhelming. You can drill down this way and that way, and I just thought, how am I ever going to get a handle on all of this data? But now I see it a little more like this. In any typical grocery store, they have hundreds of products, thousands of products. I don't know what they all are. Who knows what they all are? I don't care what they all are. I just go in to get the things I need. Healthy breakfast, bag of Doritos. Lunch, Chef Boyardee. But the point is, not only can you ignore most of the data you see in analytics, you should. It's about going in and looking at a few numbers to guide your efforts. It's not about spending lots of time doing deep analysis. It's about taking action. You should always be making an action list guided by your analytics, okay? In case you don't know, the way Google Analytics works is you put a bit of code that looks like that on all of your web pages or all of the pages that you want to track in analytics. And just from that, you get a tremendous amount of information about what happens on your website. Okay, an easy way to think of analytics, it's easy to remember: acquisition, behavior, conversion. Acquisition, how did you get the traffic? Did they link from another website? Are they from Facebook? Are they from a Google ad? Gives you information on that. Behavior, how long did they stay on your site? How many pages did they look at? Conversion, did they do what you wanted them to do? Did they watch the video? Did they make a purchase? Did they fill out the content form? So you can see the rate at which people are doing the action that you want them to take. There's a report that shows the ABC metrics: acquisition metrics, behavior, bounce rate, pages per session, average duration, and conversion, goal conversion rates. And it's helpful to see those metrics, but it's really in the segmentation of them that the value is of Google Analytics. You can see the bounce rate and the goal completion by different segments. Here we're seeing it by different types of traffic: organic search, paid search, social. So it's all about seeing those key metrics by the different segments. To quote Avinash Kaushik, who's a world-renowned analytics expert, one of the best questions analytics can help you answer is, what stinks? Go in there and see, which part of your site has really low traffic. Maybe you have a blog post that's optimized for keywords nobody searches, or not optimized well. Look for high bounce rates, low goal completion rate. Look for things that just really look bad, and make a list of some ways you can improve it on your site. And you look for the bright spots. Which maybe you have a blog post that's bringing in a ton of traffic, and so you think, maybe I need more posts like that. Low bounce rates, high goal completion rate. I want to explain this just briefly because it confused me for a while. Under acquisition, on the left menu in analytics, you see it says campaigns. What that means is It has to do with URLs that are tagged. For example, in AdWords, you can check a box that says turn on auto tagging. And what it does is whenever someone clicks on the ad, it will add some code, some parameters to the URL so that Google Analytics can get information. Bing Ads also has auto tagging. You can also tag URLs yourself. You can make it like that. And for example, if you are running a Facebook paid advertisement and you add some parameters to the URL, to the page you want them to go to, then in Analytics you can tell the difference between the paid traffic and the non-paid traffic from Facebook. So that's what that campaigns part is. It has to do with tagging. If you're using AdWords, you can and should link it to Analytics. And it's not an easy, it can be a frustrating process, that link. And I have, I think one of the things I'm offering, I have some really good notes on that could save you some trouble, because this was me one day for about 13 hours. I spent about 13 hours trying to understand all about how they link, because I do this for customers and I need to be able to know how to troubleshoot and everything. So, but it is valuable if you can make the link. They exchange information. If you're doing e-commerce, you can get cost information from AdWords into Analytics, and you can see it together, cost and revenue. Or you can just get engagement metrics in Analytics. So there is the keyword view, and by each keyword you can see the bounce rate, pages per session, average session duration. So that's very valuable. You know, those keywords are working for you. You're paying them. You want to see what kind of traffic they're bringing in. Okay. Summary: Google Analytics is free, fairly easy to set up. If you're not using it now, it's time to get started. Don't be intimidated or overwhelmed. You don't need to look at understand everything. If nothing else, just look at the bounce rate. Look at the bounce rate by page, by device. You know, maybe on desktop computers, your bounce rate is 40% for your home page. That's not horrible, but maybe on a mobile device, it's 95%. That'll tell you that your mobile website people don't like it. You know, they're leaving quickly. Okay? And if you're using AdWords, definitely link to Analytics. You'll need to add the columns to see the engagement metrics. Okay, the key to greatness with pay-per-click, and this applies to other forms of web marketing, is to have a good foundation of analytics. You have to be able to measure what you're doing. And then you have optimization. You have to be able to take action to make improvements all the time, and sometimes that should involve testing, split testing. And then you have pay-per-click on top of that. So that's the key to greatness, is having a structure kind of like that. Okay, remarketing, like I said earlier, I think it's just absolutely fantastic. It is the best way to spend $1 on internet marketing, in my opinion. It is one of the best things to come out in the last few years. It's targeting exactly the right people, loads of bang for the buck. Okay, this is an example of how it works. Let's say you own a gym. Someone hears about your gym from a friend, or they hear about it from an ad somehow. They go to your website. They look around, and then they leave the website, get back to their life, and kind of forget about it. They get busy with other things. And then a few days later, they're reading a news article online, and they see a display ad that says, Buster's Gym, join today and save $50. And they think, oh yeah, that did look like a good gym. Oh, if I join today, I save $50. So remarketing targets right to the people who you know took an interest. And you pay if they click on the display ad. But you get tons of impressions that I think have a lot of value for free in Google. Remarketing, by the way, is also called retargeting. In the world of Google, though, it's called remarketing. So once again, they go to your site, and then they leave your site, and then a few days later, or a couple of weeks later, they see a display ad that can bring them back. It says, remember, you were looking at our gym? Why don't you come back, take another look? We'll offer you a discount if you join today. It's so good, and they are display ads, like I showed earlier. Click costs are cheap. They're cheaper, a lot cheaper than regular search pay-per-click ads. and the impressions are free. Here is a remarketing campaign, some stats for just 2 weeks. I started this one recently. They got 5 clicks in the 2 weeks. That's 5 people that came back. Okay? And I feel like, why in the world would they click unless they really are thinking about it again, thinking about doing business with you again? It got almost 1,100 impressions. And the cost was $7.74. So I feel like that's just money extremely well spent. You know, those impressions which are free, they serve as good reminders too. Help keep top of mind your business. Here are some stats for another one I just started recently. That's a 2-week period. 17 clicks, 17 people came back. Over 5,000 impressions. The total cost, about $18. Here are some key points. I'm not going to read each one of these. I mentioned a couple of them already, but remarketing works with a little bit of code that's put on your web pages, and that code interacts with the cookies used by Google and Facebook. Well, if you're doing Facebook retargeting. You customize one or more audiences based on the pages they visit. You know, you can create an audience of people that only looked at your prices page or only looked at a certain product, and another audience that looked at a different product, and have campaigns just for them. A window of time is set. You can say 3 days or 3 weeks or 6 weeks. So the people that visited my website in the last 3 weeks or 6 weeks, that's who I want to advertise to. It requires a privacy policy that mentions your site uses remarketing. And it requires an audience of at least 100 to begin advertising. That's for anonymity and privacy. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me about any of this stuff. There's my, okay.
Let's give Barry a round of applause. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
You've done things with my clicker I've never seen anyone do. So I got a couple questions for you. I just need just quick short answers. How do you deal with competitors that constantly click on, this is a question came in and literally states, click on my AdWords in order to make me spend more money?
Great question. Google wants to keep, you know, a good integrity of their system, and so they don't want that to happen, obviously. Google has a robust program to eliminate those kind of clicks. They call it click fraud. So your competitor, if they go on and try to click on your ad over and over just to cost you money, they really have a lot of great systems in place and a very vigorous system against that. It's going to happen a little. Obviously, they can't 100%, make sure that doesn't happen. But I have a lot of faith in the system in that aspect.
Okay, should I buy my competitor's name as a keyword?
Should you use your competitor's name as a keyword? It's often done. Google has no problem with it. And I think it can be effective for some businesses.
Okay, when you had the phone number in the ad and someone clicks on the phone number, there's no charge for that, is that correct?
On a mobile device, you'll see a click to call button in that case, and that counts as a click. If the phone number is showing and they just click on the ad somewhere, that also counts as a click. But if they just pick up their phone and start dialing,
so if they click on that phone, it counts.
On the mobile phone, if the click to call button, that counts as a click.
Gotcha. Okay. It says question: remarketing will not work if the user clears cookies or history. Is that correct?
Yes, it is correct.
All right. Bob, you had a couple questions, right? Let me just come to you because I can't find it in here. You're gonna look on your phone and see what they were. Yeah, you had a couple of good ones.
Yeah, basically, people like you who, you really solved the problem for people to go in there, but Google also advertises independently of you. So do they frown upon having people like you out there helping clients to use AdWords?
Oh, no, just the opposite. There's a Google representative that's assigned to me, and he calls me on a regular basis saying, what can I do for you? He'll look at see that I have some new customers. He'll say, he'll give me suggestions, and I mentioned that I would be speaking here. I talk to him on a regular basis, and he just said, well, whatever I can do. No, they have a big program to help people like me. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, hold on, Bob.
Sorry. Yeah, I wanted to ask you, are there certain industries where the click is closely correlated to actionable revenue versus others that are not? Would you say that there are some that just don't make sense for PPC versus others?
Yes. The words commercial intent. You have to think about commercial intent. Think of all the people using the web. You can kind of divide them into browsers, shoppers, and buyers. Most people, when they're on the web, they're just browsing. They're looking for a little information about something. Then you have people shopping. They're thinking of making a purchase. And then there are people that are ready. They're ready to make a transaction. They want to hire somebody. They want to buy something. So with pay-per-click, you want to really target those buyers and maybe some of the shoppers.
All right, question here. This should be a yes or no. What is Google's policy on advertising firearms? Do they have any policy on that?
Yes, they do. You can't do it.
You can't do it?
Well, I have some experience with that. You can't mention gun. The truth is, they have a lot of stated policies about what can show in an ad, but a lot of ads just slip through. So you're not supposed to be able to say gun or firearm in an ad, but I know for a fact that they do slip through, and sometimes those ads do show.
Gotcha. Okay, good to know. The other one is, how can a small business doing their marketing find their few niche keywords that produce results? Their audience is, let's say, about 100 people. Or 100, the audience is about the size of 100. How's that determined?
I didn't understand. I'm sorry.
So someone's key niche is literally 100 individuals that they need to get in front of.
Okay.
How would you niche that down to get there? Would this be something beneficial for that?
Well, for sure, people go and search what they're looking. People use Google all the time, so you can for sure use keywords that they might search. And if there are only 100 people out there, you can't expect much activity.
Gotcha.
But you can take a display strategy. You can take a search strategy.
Okay, and Dave wants to chime in on this one. Go ahead, Dave.
I just wanted to add to the Google click fraud, which is absolutely correct. Google has a click fraud algorithm, and they'll actually report back clicks back to you. But also, if you work with someone, a lot of times we'll actually put IP tracking on the customer's website. And basically what we can do is we can run reports on certain IPs. If they consistently come up, we can actually do IP exclusion into the AdWords program so that IP doesn't come up anymore. Now that's a little bit more advanced, just to kind of give you guys an idea. But the reason for that is, at this particular hotel here, everybody's on the same IP. So you could have that. But if you're dealing with the consumers and you're going to people's homes, then you know that everybody's not working on the same IP. So you got to do a little bit of strategy behind that, but that is available.
Question for you, Barry.
Okay.
I have a friend, and this is a true case study, came to me about a week ago. He's got people putting up spam reviews about his business. How do you defend from that?
Spam reviews?
And they're not even people have done business with them. They're like vendettas that are being paid back through spam reviews on his Google Plus account.
Well, you're really setting me up for something here.
We'll do
because
that
I have a solution, but unfortunately,
Okay.
The only thing you can do is try to get a stream of positive reviews.
Right, and that's what he's doing. So I wasn't sure if there's, because it's like the names are like John Smith, like you could tell blatantly they're spam, but they're terrible.
But on that, I use a system that I'm setting up for some customers that there's this company that created this platform that is a silver bullet for reviews. It is absolutely, it's just a clever solution to the problem that almost every business has, which is you need a flow of good reviews, and they're hard to get.
Okay, so right now it's 1:53. Barry, first off, the way you explain things in such an easy, it wasn't easy to understand. I want to just commend you for that and give you a round of applause for doing that. Let's say thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.